When Sun and Moon and even Ultra Sun and Moon came out, there wasn't much change in terms of Pokemon becoming extremely powerful regarding a shift in tiers. When Sun and Moon came out, the tiers were pretty well established, and even some new faces from Ultra Sun and Moon didn't rock the boat enough to be a difference maker. However, the same cannot be said for Sword and Shield, and these are my 5 most painful Pokemon to fight against, whether in ranked, casual, or any format. Now, when Sword and Shield came out, that's a different story. There were some Pokemon that stood out above all the others. Some that became so powerful that nearly every team seemed to at least have one of them. And heaven forbid you run up against a team including all of them. While the same is not true for both singles and doubles, these are my top 5 Pokemon I hate fighting against simply because they do such a good job at being so darn powerful. Now, before we begin though, the honorable mention who didn't make it to the top 5. Honorable mention. Dragapult is the newest pseudo-legend on the block. Dragapult has a lot of things going for it. It is the king of speed among all of the pseudo-legends. Even at -2, this thing can still outspeed a lot of Pokemon out there. It also possesses the perfect sweeper stat that only Pokemon like Pheromosa boasts. Extremely high speed reaching above 140 base stat, a supremely powerful 120 base attack stat, and a base 100 special attack stat, with a decent mix of HP and defenses, make Dragapult a Pokemon that if you don't respect it, you do so at your own peril. Dragapult's mixed power makes it hard to pin down about whether it's special or physical, but what makes it even scarier is the numerous strats that can be employed with it. Dragapult can act as both support or pure offense for a team, and with its ability Clear Body and Ghost typing, it makes it immune to Fake Out and Intimidators. And, like all the Pokemon on this list, Arceus help you should it Dynamax and be running weakness policy, with it activated. Number 5. GMAX Lapras. An elegant Pokemon from a more civilized time, Lapras hails from Generation 1, where things were simpler and you could literally earthquake and surf all the boys in the yard to achieve victory. Fighting against GMAX Lapras isn't impossible per se, it's breaking down the barrier it sets up and stopping it from just overwhelming your side. Like all Dynamax Pokemon, and especially those that are extremely bulky, it has the ever-present threat of weakness policy, and heaven forbid you trigger it before it gets to attack. Lapras gets the number 5 slot because it's not necessarily broken and can be outplayed, and most people rely heavily on the Aurora Veil setup that they almost always go for it 95% of the time, making it a very predictable Pokemon. Number 4. The number 4 slot is tied between GMAX Colossal and Dynamax Rhyperior. Both of these run a similar set of relying on weakness policy to be procced in order to deal the massive damage they need to. What separates them is that one requires Trick Room and the other requires water attacks to hit it. Rhyperior's power is similar to another Pokemon later on, but if it faces off against a water type that uses special attacks, there is a high chance of it going down. As for the Colossal, Colossal is one of the only Pokemon capable of outspeeding even a choice-scarfed Dragapult thanks to its ability. People run Scarf Dragapult or priority moves like Aqua Jet to trigger the Pokemon's weakness policy and ability at the same time, giving it a +2 attack, +2 special attack if it's a special attacker, and all the way maxing out its speed stat, turning a Pokemon with a base 30 speed stat into a Pokemon that can outspeed even a Scarf Dragapult. Basically, GMAX Colossal is one speedy boy. Number 3. The number 3 slot goes to Excadrill. While nothing has changed regarding Excadrill's stratagems or playbook, it now can do so much more thanks to Dynamaxing. At the same time, because it's so heavily used, people have found value in its other ability, Mold Breaker, to help counter the Rotom forms and even Mimikyu. What gives it the number 3 slot is that you've got a 50-50 shot of it being one or the other. Get the wrong one and your team could suffer for it unless you shut it down fast. Then there's the threat of Dynamaxing. If it goes Dynamax, you're in trouble, as it could potentially kill you, able to outspeed or outplay whatever Pokemon you bring. It's fast without Sand Rush and even faster with it, and can set up its own sand to activate its Sand Rush ability if it has it. Number 2. Togekiss, Togekiss, Togekiss. Togekiss is the singles master in Sword and Shield, next to Dragapult, Ditto, Snorlax, Excadrill, and Clefable. It can solo an entire team if played correctly. There are 3 kinds of Togekiss now, where before there was 2. The popular Crit Kiss, which maxes out speed and power to Dynamax and crit kill everything on the field using Super Luck. The popular Flinch Kiss of old, which uses Air Slash and speed to flinch the target and shut them down with Seringrace. And finally, the new bulky Support Kiss, which thanks to its powerful defenses can take even max Rockfall moves. There's also again the threat of the weakness policy, making it dangerous to run against no matter what form you fight. Da, 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 da. Number 1. The big daddy of them all. The absolute most hated Pokemon, in my opinion, to fight against is Tyranitar. I kid you not, this Pokemon, thanks to the Dynamax mechanic, went from being a Pokemon that would go for Dragon Dance to sweep, or wore an Assault Vest to resist even Special Hyper Voice from Sylveon, to a literal Godzilla of Generation 8. Being a pseudo-legend means it's already one of the top dogs to start with. Its massive 134 base attack, 100 minimum base defense stats and HP, and ability Sandstream already make this Pokemon a powerful threat on its own. But, coupled with weakness policy, the Dynamax factor, the Sandstorm giving it a special defense buff, and an almost guarantee that you will not die in one shot, thanks to all the previous factors combined, make this the most frustrating Pokemon to fight against. Not only is it that powerful, but unless you catch it off guard while non-Dynamax with a powerful attack to one-shot it, namely a fighting type physical move half the time, and you will see that weakness policy proc. And then you have to contend with that thing in its Dynamax form or on its own. Either way, it's deadly. Its slow speed at 61 means it naturally outspeeds 60 base speed Pokemon, if they aren't speed infested. And it perfectly is in the position between a Trick Room Pokemon and not a Trick Room Pokemon, meaning it can fight in or out of that setting. It's most commonly seen alongside Excadrill, who is the number 3 slot. And you have to gamble which is the Dynamax between the two if you see them running together. Guess wrong, and you're in big trouble. I fought against Tyranitar enough that I legit fear it now. There are only a few Pokemon I fear, and Tyranitar now earns its own pedestal. I kid you not, this thing can solo an entire team on its own. I've seen streamers make a comeback win simply off the back of Tyranitar. I've even fought my opponent on ranked so well that it was a 4-to-1 advantage, and they simply Dynamaxed Tyranitar, and that's it. I just died. There was nothing I could do to stop it. And that is why Tyranitar is the #1 most painful Pokemon to fight against. If you like the new video format, let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, hey, give it a like. I'm not gonna force you. I'm just saying. Maybe it could help me out. Just saying. Till then, I am Tactical Knowledge, your Fedora Restaurant. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.
On the wind I hear you calling from the ocean far away. Whisper